All right. Good morning. Happy Monday. Glad to have y'all here. And we have a short list of members here, but they'll start filing in shortly. Let's go ahead and get started, though, because they can certainly read their tracking sheets as well as we can. Members, we are on, or member, excuse me, we're starting with the State Accounting Office, which is section 11 on pages 5 through 6. So come on up and tell us about your budget.
I think I turned it off. Is it on? Good morning. It does feel like the Monday after the Super Bowl, but I'm glad to be here. We'll go to the budget. I'm going to assume I can skip the statewide adjustments. Is that fair? So what I'll do just before I go through the actual tracking sheet, I'll just let you know is we went through ZBB with OPB in the off season, and what this really reflects is two main things. It really reflects taking SAO from one program to 4. I'll walk you through them. And it also reflects moving some folks that we were paying for state funds into billing models to actually leverage the federal dollars we can derive from that. So really that's the two things you're going to hear me repeat multiple times here. That's really what it's doing. So there's a lot of movement, but at the end of the day, it's those two things. The 4 programs, you're going to see them listed here. SAO went from one program to an administration program, which basically is me and my office. Went to a financial systems program, which is where we have PeopleSoft, which is the ERP the state uses for all HR and payroll and financial transactions. We went to shared services, where we provide payroll shared services, payroll processing for certain agencies, as well as AP processing for certain agencies and travel. And then finally, it went to a statewide reporting group, which is where we do CAFR, BCR, all the statewide reports we put out. But again, I'll go through those 4 things now, but that's essentially what happened. So again, starting with administration and line 11.1.3, that is simply just moving the money that used to be in the old statewide accounting office program into the admin program for me, my admin assistant, and folks in my direct commissioner's office, for lack of a better word. If you go to the next section, you go to 11.2, that's financial systems. Again, that's PeopleSoft. 11.2.3 is again doing the same thing, just moving the money out of the old program into the new one. 11.2.4 is an example of when we talked about moving some folks that used to be paid for with state funds into the teamwork cost model, so therefore they can be paid for with state and federal and other funds, i.e. not just totally state funded. 11.2.5 is just moving some folks between different programs. Again, a ZBB impact. It's just moving folks around. And I'll stop if you need to, but I'm going to keep going unless you stop me. 11.3 is for shared services. And that, again, if you go to 11.3.5, that's where we're, again, moving money from the statewide accounting office initial program into this shared services program. 11.3.6 and 11.3.7 is, again, a move to take people that we used to pay for solely with state funds, put them in the cost models, and recover them with not only state funds but federal and others, so it's not just fully state paid for. And then 11.3.8 is where we're putting an additional person into the payroll shared service center, because as of July 1st, we will process all the payroll for the new DCS agency once all those folks move from DJJ and GDC and all the agencies are coming from. And that's just to provide the one body that will provide that will process their payroll. If you turn to the next section, 11.4 is the old program that disappears. And then finally 11.5, and if you look at line 11.5.3, that is the final move to move the final bit from the original state accounting office program into statewide accounting and reporting, and that again just moves it from the old program into the new one. It seems like a lot, but again, at the end of the day, it's just moving from one program to 4, and then moving folks off, I think it's a total of 5 folks off of being totally state funded onto being leveraging federal and other funds, so they're not totally state funded. And with that, I'll stop and wait for questions.
All right. Chairman Smith.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. So in all the moving around, was there any additional new funds?
No. Well, outside the normal common charge adjustments for merit, like for pay raises, I don't believe there's any new funds.
So we're not tracking dollars here, we're just tracking the names of the new groups that have been established.
Yeah, I think quite honestly, when you go through it, you actually will see if you were to take the amount of state funds that were in the one program and look at the amount of state funds in the next 4, and you discount things like merit raises, there's actually less state funds in the 4 programs.
Okay.
So there's actually a net, if you discount the pay raise increase, there's actually a reduction in state funds.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So why was this decision made to switch a number of positions paid for by state funds to other funds?
I think the primary driver, like I said, is if I pay for, let's say, the person who's running the payroll share service center originally from just my budget, well, if we charge them to the agencies, a lot of the agencies are using other funds, federal funds, other methods of sources rather than just state fund revenue. Well, instead of me just paying for it, we charge them for it. They can then use those federal sources and those other sources to pay the bill, and therefore we're not just using we're not just using 100% state funds to pay for it. And that gets back to how you have a net. All because when you discount the pay raises, you have a net decrease.
What is the primary source for your other funds?
Billings agencies.
Okay. Can we talk about the State Board of Accountancy?
I can. Paul, who's the executive director for the board's here too, but if I can try to answer it, but if I can, I'm sure Paul can.
Tell me about the $75,000 under 11.3.7. Is that for new positions?
No, ma'am, and Paul, you correct me if I'm wrong. You can come up here if you want to, but I think what the board was asking to do is the board wants to periodically actually audit the CPA, CPE filings. Obviously, CPAs have to file we have to do continuing education. I mean, I have to do it myself. And one of the things the board wants to do is be able to audit those things and make sure people are actually getting the proper amount of CPE. And they've entered into a contract with the National State Board of Accountancy to do that on their behalf, and the $75,000 pays for those audits.
Okay.
Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Very good. Chairman Smith.
Not me, sorry.
Oh. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning.
All right. Next up is the Office of Insurance and Fire Safety. And we are on pages 14 and 15 for section 29.
Morning, Madam Chair, committee members. Commissioner Hudgens sends his regrets that he was unable to be here today. And I'm Chris Walker. I'm the CFO for the department. When you look at the recommendation, aside from the statewide changes, there are no changes to our budget. It's flat. And we are in agreement with the governor's recommendation. So with that, I'll take any questions. That's all right. No problem.
Chairman Smith.
Thank you. And this is not necessarily related to the budget, but with your enforcement and investigative area of the budget, does this go to consumer complaints and then you investigate that way, or where is that? Where is that in your budget?
Well, the enforcement side is actually our attorneys that work with our fraud. If you look at our insurance regulation program, it's broken down into 2 areas, regulation and special fraud. We've got a fraud division that actually investigates any reported fraud or any fraud concerns that are brought to the department. The consumer services side of it falls in the insurance regulation program, and many times we do get, by consumers calling in and reporting, we do get fraud allegations or issues that would prompt an investigation. And the other side of the enforcement is they actually work with the fraud unit and with the local DAs when we do incur a fraud issue to prosecute the case and ensure that the case is prepared.
Thank you. One more question.
Sure.
Is it relying upon a complaint, or is it a matter of policy that you review our larger insurance companies? I'm getting a lot of phone calls from people who feel like they're being dropped, they're not being taken care of. What do they do? And so, what do I do to help them?
Yes, ma'am. It's both, Chairman Smith. Our consumer services platform, takes calls and complaints. So if someone feels that they've been adversely affected for whatever reason, they can call in or email, correspond, however they choose to do so with our consumer services platform, and then we will take it from there and investigate it. If it becomes an issue at that point that appears to be fraud, then it will be referred over to our fraud investigation division and taken from there as a fraud investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, members? All right, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, members, thank you for your time. Meeting adjourned.